So first of all, Lynn, thank you. I can't tell you how good it is to see you, my man.
Likewise.
So we're here with the former chairman and CEO of Fritz Companies and now the proprietor of Lynn Winery, which we want to talk about that in a bit. But first of all, thank you for everything.
Sure.
Dave and I laugh about the lives that we live, and it's partially because of yourself, your family, and your company. Right. And it's been fantastic.
Because you only get fulfilled if you fulfill. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more to say to that. So yeah, it's fulfilling. Thank you.
So we started this company 9 years ago, and we model a lot of it after the innovation, or try to be as innovative and forward thinking as what we all grew up with within Fritz Companies. I would say arguably it was the most innovative and forward-thinking company, certainly in the 3PL logistics world.
Yeah.
So we've spent a lot of time trying to model ourselves after that. But in today's day and age of this and social media, trying to stay focused on a familial, collaborative, culture. Very difficult.
We are all really, every human is essentially in the trust business. You're in the trust business with your wife on the most personal, intimate relationships you have, to your neighbors, to your businesses, to your customers, etc. To have trust, you basically had to exemplify and actually activate core values. Honesty, a little humility, certainly kindness, respect of other human beings. Particularly if you were going to have other human beings either engage with you, either as partners and people in your business, and or customers. It oftentimes is, yes, it's faster, and you've got some balance sheet reason for being, having a customer and why he's using you or she's using you, etc. But I've always found, and still find, notwithstanding data, this phone and technology and stuff, that decisions to use people and trust people and engage in their business, whatever the business is, whether it's freight forwarding or any other, business, really is enormously influenced by the fact that they're embracing what you stand for and what the people that work with you stand for. And once you understand that, and then I think if you have a sense of mission, which I think is totally important, that people are going to exceed and excel and feel good about what they do, it's why they do it.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
So it's principles and the rest underpinning, and then it's the why. What's the why?
Yeah.
What's the why? Lastly, I guess, people join you, We had the 10 best men thing. Everybody that were in your top 10, were sort of like you. You admire them. They had a certain drive. They almost inevitably had the same trust factors of respect, ability, go for it, dare, whatever it is that define you and your values and the rest. Every guy or lady that you said, I want in my team, inevitably had 8 out of 10 of those, and the 2 others were probably complementary.
Yes, right. We went back into the Fritz Company's history. I mean, there's a lot of it, by the way.
Yeah.
But it was 143 million in turnover in 88, 89.
Yeah.
I started in 91, you in 90. At that time, it was about 160 million.
Yeah.
And by 97, it was 1.2 billion.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about the foundation, and then the bell curve.
Totally.
That's
exactly right. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Right?
And the foundation where you guys now is even more enjoyable than the bell curve.
I was, they say, oh, you got me at hello, right? That whole, for me, I was sold when I was invited to a shippers council, and I was still a kid. I mean, I must have been 24 years old, and a little bit intimidated, but completely excited to do this. And I was with I think it was Patrick Poon at Dow Corning, and we were flying in from Asia. And on the flight over, my grandmother got sick, and I was super close to her. And I remember Dave was, I don't know if you were there. I think you might have been in Hong Kong. I can't remember, but Jack Finholm was very close to me, and he had heard this.
Yeah.
And he had gone back. He came to me with a message from you.
Yeah.
That said, you're not even allowed in here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had a customer there, man, and I said, and the answer was, we'll take care of Patrick, but you're not allowed in here. You need to get on a flight tomorrow or today and get to Ohio. And I thought, you know, in the world of corporate greed, remember those in the 90s with Wall Street and whatever?
Oh, absolutely. Greed is good.
Right.
Gordon Gekko.
Right. And I thought, my God, that's something different. And we have tried our best to remember that.
Delighted.
In a microcosm of the macro today.
Mm-hmm.
And that really works. And I got to tell you, we've had 2 employees leave. One we got rid of. One left to go to a family business.
Perfect.
And the rest feel, I think, and maybe I'm delusional. I don't think I am.
I doubt it.
The rest, I get thank yous a lot.
Yeah.
Man. Like, not when it's payday or the 13th month or bonus. It's thank you. Thanks for caring about my family. Thanks for giving me the slack and the rope that I need to be creative and breathe. Thanks. 2 months ago, Dave and I were with Discorn. And we opened in Cambodia, we opened in Vietnam, we opened in Thailand, we opened in Myanmar. So Dave and I were down doing the tour, and we, of course, met up with a team in 4 of the countries, and then also with Discorn, who has not changed much. He's still dynamic and funny.
Say hello to him for me.
Yeah. But the idea was that we were going to look at changing the way that you could consolidate purchase orders for North American retailers and consolidate Burmese factories with Thai factory supply.
Okay.
So we thought, well, let's take a look at a couple warehouses. And one happened to be, and the idea was that you would write an order instead of moving it to Yangon port, which is not massive capacity as such. Let's consolidate it in a facility in Mesot, both Burmese and Thai supply POs,
pure
and
Fritz
ship
stuff.
it.
Pure Fritz stuff. I love it, guys.
Right.
Okay.
Truck it down to Lam Shabong and move it. Great. Plenty of capacity. But how are we going to do it? And this was the conversation in the car, in the van, and Discorn, and this is back to the cultural legacy.
Yeah.
Discorn says, well, you know what? We're not sure, but we've got to create that market. Right? And I just remembered this conversation as you had said that.
Yeah.
And actually that is the legacy that still goes on today.
Great.
That a guy
I'm really pleased.
He said, we've got to create how are we going to do it? He said, we've got to create the market.
Yeah.
And so then the wheels start to spin.
Yeah.
One of the things that I reflect on, and I think maybe you can shed some insight on, is one of my greatest memories of working at Fritz Companies is it was a really high energy, and sometimes competitive, not in a bad way.
Yes, no, I
but
get
competitive within the company,
Oh,
right? And everybody wanted to achieve. Everybody was trying to drive to the same goal. And I'm really sorry that Jack Finholm, who was supposed to be here with us today, couldn't make it, because I'm sure he would have shed some light on a number of these subjects.
Without doubt.
But Jack and I are an interesting example, because there was never a doubt that Jack and I always wanted to get to the same goal, right? But we never agreed on the steps that were necessary to get to that goal, right? And so there were, it was competitive, but it was competitive for good reasons. And I count Jack as one of my closest friends. 25 years later, right? Even though those things existed. So how do you foster that type of high energy, achievement based culture while still keeping that familial, friendship element to it?
Well, you answered your own question in a way, because I not only tolerated, I encouraged that there were more than one step to the end game here. Because if everybody had the same step, we would be this automated thing, and then like IBM, we would die in 5 years doing the right steps with the right time, everybody on the same tune. I didn't believe in that. I've told my son many times, since he's here, that wisdom only comes from many lenses. You don't get wisdom from seeing from one point of view. I mean, it's limiting. It's human It's a limitation of the human. But the underlying basis, to answer your question, though, really is it's really back to the trust deal. I just great respect for anybody, and to put together something in an organization of many lenses.
One of the things we're seeing in a lot of companies now, historically there were people that did business to business and there were people that did business to consumer.
Yeah.
And that line is, if not completely blurred, it's totally blurred beyond recognition. Right. So what kind of advice or thoughts do you have in terms of whether it's omni-channel or any of the buzzwords that are out there today about how that's changing and what companies can do to be ready for that?
Yeah, I think first of all, decisions are still made for the most part on trust and the rest. So which means you have to talk to your things and really have an understanding of what it is that's actually on their hit list. You have to have a technology element here that passes the test. The mind and of course the functional substantive test, that you're able to utilize technology well enough to be able to adapt to the adaptations that technology is creating for your customers. I mean, there wasn't an omni-channel until Amazon did this, and then all of a sudden you needed to have it in the store. You had to close the store. Yeah, I mean, these are all of a sudden, oh shucks, business is different, and it really sucks, and I've got a whole kind of new set of problems. So I mean, you do have to I would say, stay on top of that element, because you could be disrupted, to use the great new term of the last 15 years now. I could be disrupted only because some guy appears or says or purports to have, and sometimes actually do, a better technology solution than you do, and so you really have to be, you have to have a technical ability or a technical savvy found on technology. The biggest inroads we made were having each of our customers overcome their ERP systems, because nobody trusts their ERP systems, and they shouldn't, because they don't really work very well. They never really have, and you don't want to put your life on hold or at risk for saying, okay, I put all the data in there and I believe everything that's coming out. So they're asking you, for your deal. They're asking the purchasing thing for their, everybody's got their segmentation of these enormous systems depending on the size of the company.
To stay on the forefront of it, understanding what you just said.
Exactly.
Is to invest and be first investors in supply chain startup to a degree.
Yep.
Sit on the board of some of these.
That's a good one.
Steer it a bit
Yep.
to what our customer
Great.
is looking for, instead of trying to build it out.
Exactly.
And so far, I think that's been the right strategy.
Lynn, one of the other things that I know you're seeing, and we're certainly seeing, and we think that it's going in the right direction for a number of reasons, is customers and people that you're working with are intensely more interested in things like your ethical positions, your moral positions, especially your environmental positions on things, and how your company operates. And historically, maybe that's been kind of on our RFP somewhere down in question number 47 or something, but now it's up one of the top 5.
Yeah, that's really
and where do you see that going, or how do you address some of those challenges?
So many companies are now having to work with customers on Yelps or whatever else, and their employees on open chats, and are now actually having to work with individuals, and individuals of their company, which gets to the shareholders. There's this outside lens, now the company's never had to deal with before. I mean, there was totally an inside lens and inside this. The fact that it is happening and that there is really genuine awareness with the public, however, is good. And the drama that it creates within the company to address it in a measurable fashion is good. So where is it going? I think it'll just continue. I think as as the world gets more and more transparent every day, with fake news as well as good news, as well as every other kind of information that can come about your company. I mean, God knows. I mean, you're exposed now in your company to So it just would make me shake a little bit, to see what we're exposed to if somebody really wants to do us poorly. So being out in front of it, and for its own sake, and because it's also a good business adaptation or good business ethic to do is good. I think there'll be more of it. I think having single-purpose kind of stuff is particularly good in my estimation, which I really like about what you're doing. Because you could take on climate and you could do a lot of different things, and there's other boxes with other things. But to be genuine thing about something that is near, dear, and within your business ethic, which is really why I like.
Sri Lankan connection.
Precisely,
with the orphanage in Sri Lanka, right.
It's an orphanage. It's very specific. You're married. Your key guy is married to a Sri Lankan woman. You're involved in the society there. There's a genuine need. There's nobody that's going to dispute that. It's some kind of a sham. But it will continue. I don't see it going any other way. It'd be interesting. I know this is not. I'm more than interested in talking to you guys after this to find out how, what your experience has been, and be happy to, double up my interview to you and find out what life is with you guys.
So I have two things.
Yep.
One, I want to ask a question to you, and I want to give you a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And which is the gift is ironic, since you are. The proprietor of an amazing winery. So we brought you some.
Thank you.
Some Al wine.
You got an Al wine, all right.
Yeah, we got an Al wine from Beth Thomas, my cousin.
Oh, really?
Who was a former Fritzer as well.
Yeah.
Her family owns a winery in Ohio, believe it or not, called Wine.Winery.
No kidding.
They white labeled us for us because we didn't want to bother you. And have you white label wine for us?
Okay.
That's the first bottle. If you flip that around,
the card.
Bottle number 1.
All right. Oh my God. Okay, that's 12% alcohol. Good. Now you're not going to get killed by that one. That's very unusual for a Cabernet.